All right, so since recording my last Loom, we have actually scored several major victories. And in the last 4 weeks, I believe we have signed 4 or 5 clients. I'm not entirely sure. I would have to go back and look at the numbers, but to a super big agency owner, super established, that's nothing. But honestly, to me, especially, I've been at it for about a year now, really just bootstrapped, trying to get as much momentum as possible, really trying to hit that breakthrough. It's definitely a big deal. And so if we go to my Stripe right here, you'll see that from March 4th to April 4th, all right, you'll see right today's April 4th, we're currently sitting at 24.7K per month. Most of this is actually monthly recurring revenue. It's retainers. I've always gone with the retainer model, not necessarily pay per close or pay per appointment, but a big lump sum or a significant amount, I would say about 5K of that actually came from a huge performance deal we had with a client. But yeah, 24.7K in the last 30 days. Pretty crazy to think about. Started this about a year ago. It's funny, I went on my Snapchat memories and I saw that I had taken a picture of one of the appointments I booked, and that one appointment actually became my very first client. So I think probably 2 days ago is when I actually signed my first paying client. So it's really crazy what you can do if you just stick to something long enough. If you just stick it out, lock yourself in a hole, like Daniel Fazio says. Lock yourself in a hole, study, work, learn, implement what you learn, work toward that goal. And if you stay consistent, stay disciplined and motivated, it's really unreasonable that you don't hit it. No matter the external factors. I've had a bunch of shit thrown at me. Business manager got hacked, Facebook profile got hacked, had to basically restart at zero. With that, for the 80% of my agency's life cycle, I've been in the military working 12 to 14 hour days. Sometimes I was in the field. I didn't have any Wi-Fi connection, so the ads are just kind of on autopilot. Being slammed with work in the military, and still, we're still able to hit this milestone. So I don't really, say that to brag. It really should inspire you because, if I can do it with all those obstacles, there's no reason you shouldn't be able to too. Unless I would say if you're in like certain third world countries, then it's a lot harder. You'll probably run into a lot more milestones than I did. But that goes without saying. So now, how in the world did I get here? Because on my first video, it was 13K per month. I actually filmed that, and then I hit this a month or two later. And so I was like, well, shit, maybe I should refilm it, but whatever, I'll just post it anyway. So what did I actually do during that time to reach that milestone? Well, there are a couple of things, all right? Number one, the quote that really sticks with me in business and agencies, it could be B2B SaaS, for example, is volume negates luck. I don't know who I heard that from. I think it was Daniel Fazio. I don't know. I watch a lot of his content. That guy's probably my favorite guru on the internet. He's got some good stuff, so highly recommend. But volume negates luck. And another thing I heard is whoever puts their offer in front of the most people at the end of the day wins. And so what I did was I was sending about 500 emails per day. I decided to, why not double that? All right. I was already getting most of my clients through cold email. I was already getting great results. Like, what took me so long to look at that and be like, all right, dude, this is going great. Why can't we double it? It's like the same with ad spend. If it's, all right, campaign's performing amazing. All right, let's allocate the budget toward that and let's steadily increase it. All right. So what I did now was I bought a shit ton of domains, tons of emails, and basically now I'm at the point where I can safely send 1,300 emails per day. All right, so that's one of them, just one of the acquisition channels. And from that, booking a ton of sales calls. Now, another thing I'm currently doing is, and this is going to be a whole other video because I have learned so much from this experience, but it's building an outbound SDR team, or if you want to put in broad terms, a cold calling team. All right. So I built a cold calling team. I hired 3 cold callers to do 200 dials a day. So, 600 cold calls per day. Like at that point, how can you fail? One of them did end up leaving the first 2 days. So the lesson in there is hire more than you think you're going to need, especially for a sales position. whether that's inbound setters like MDRs or if it's cold callers like SDRs. Hire more than you need, because a lot of times, no matter what vetting or what qualification you do, some of them might churn. You just kind of have to prepare for it. And so one of them did, which, hey, totally fine. I'm still left with 2. And from that 2, I got really 2 solid killers to come work with me. And I'll explain how I hired that killer cold call team, like I said, in another video, because there's a lot that goes into it. It's not doing one-on-one interviews and posting in Facebook groups. Of course you can, but there's a whole better way to actually hire cold callers and actually make sure that they're qualified. Basically, to give you the brief summary, I put them through a 4-day group training ramp up. And then from there, as you could assume, I generated a bunch of applicants. Day 1, a couple people, like one or 2 people fell off. They had that TikTok attention span where they just couldn't sit down for 10 minutes to listen what I had to say, so they just left the Zoom meeting. Totally fine. So what does that mean? You just saved yourself 30 minutes interviewing a person who's never going to be a good fit, right? So that's why group trainings, group interviews are definitely the way. And so I'll go into more what I did like day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. But by day 4, I had already known who I was going to hire. I had my guys, and so I onboarded them into the company. And another thing that I see a lot of agency owners doing is they hire cold callers on commission only, like on closed deals. Now, the problem with that is, okay, like number 1, no really good cold caller is going to work for you as a beginner agency owner on commission only basis. Maybe if the cold caller is working for Cole Gordon or Client Ascension, but if you're under 100K per month, or maybe 50K per month, it's just not going to happen. All right. And another thing to take into account is sales cycles for agencies, especially me. This might be a problem with my sales, but like I hardly ever close on the first call. Even though I have a 1-call close framework, I always try to close on the first call. It's usually the second call that I close. And another thing to take into account is while like the agency sales cycle it's thought to be quick. You can book a prospect on a meeting, close them on the meeting, collect cash, boom, you got $1,500 in your pocket, got a new client. The problem is that's only 3% of the market that you're going after who are ready to buy right now. Whereas 97% of them, they're just not ready to buy just yet. The sales cycle is going to be longer. And so if those cold callers are working on commission basis only, then they're going to be doing $200 a day for days on end, and no sales are going to be coming in. Maybe 1 or 2 if you're lucky, but no sales are going to be coming in. And if the thing is, especially for sales guys, if the cold callers don't believe that they can make money in your company, then they're just going to churn. And I see it way too often, especially being connected in the space. People hire these commission only cold call teams from overseas, and they churn within 2 weeks because 1, they're not making any money. They don't have any confidence in the leader or the founder of the company. The company owner can't close, and they're just working on commission only. They're not making any money. They don't believe they're going to make any money. So that's the problem with I see commission only. Now the thing is, you still need to incentivize them. But the thing with that is a lot of people bring up like the pay per show. The pay per show is fine. My problem with it is they'll just book anybody on the calendar then. You could say pay per qualified show, but the cold caller, they're going to feel some type of way, in my opinion, if they're booking all these calls and then half of them are no-shows, and so like their pay is half. So what I do instead, and this was my alternative, you can have your own opinion on this, but how I got my two killer cold callers is paying them $500 per month base, a base salary. Now, to get that base, they have to do 200 dials a day. So this also keeps them accountable, because with the commission only, they're pretty much going to be like, all right, I'll do as many dials as I really want. They might not do that 200. So this keeps them accountable. And then I also pay them a 5% commission on my offer, which also incentivizes them. And from that 5%, they make quite a bit of money. And so it's a win-win scenario. And so that's really how I hired the cold call team. And then, with the email, the outbound processes it's just all about volume. And so being able to get a bird's eye view of the agency landscape right now, especially people who are kind of at my level or below, my competition, nobody is able to match the volume that I'm doing. And I'm not even running ads yet. that's definitely on the plan. Actually, this weekend it's on the agenda to start filming ad creatives, and then hopefully by early next week we'll get ads up and going. Probably gonna start out spending $50 a day, then ramp it up to $100 a day after I find what's working. But I mean, all those dials, all those cold emails, plus I'll have ads up and going. Plus I have an agency YouTube channel, and all the prospects who book a call, they're getting put on an email list, which in the email list, they're getting redirected to the YouTube. And anybody who the cold callers call, and they're really good prospect, but for some reason, some people just might not want to get on a sales call, which is fine. Of course, this is the last resort, but if they don't want to get on a sales call, then they tag them in Alloware as email info. And what that does is it puts them on the email list, which puts them into an email autoresponder that goes on for about 14 days, and it redirects them to the YouTube channel. So, I mean, if you think about that, all these outreach systems, all this volume, hitting up all these new contacts, giving them our offer, and then also nurturing them with the email list, the YouTube, it's a recipe for success, really. And I just believe if you're an agency owner and you're just not implementing that, I feel like you're losing at the end of the day. Now, if you don't have any funds, then that's obviously tougher. You got to get to the trenches. I remember when I had 0 clients, or even all the way up till 3 clients, I remember my primary outreach was cold DMs, which sucks. I don't even do cold DMs today because it's just a waste of time, right? It's the lowest leverage thing you can do because, number one, it takes labor to send those DMs. There's not an automated software like instantly to send those DMs for me. And number two is it's low volume. I can't really send a high amount of volume unless I have a shit ton of Instagram or Facebook accounts, which then you run into your own problems over there because these platforms are only getting stricter and stricter and stricter as more people are spamming the inbox. And then also you have to optimize each of those profiles, and it's just a headache. So I don't even do DMs anymore. But if you're starting out with no money, you don't really have any sort of leverage, then I mean, honestly, you just got to get into the trenches. You really just have to embrace the suck for a couple months. I mean, maybe even up to a year until you get that breakthrough, kind of like I'm showing you here. And then once you have that cash, or once you get a couple clients, everybody says this, but cash is truly oxygen. I remember when I signed my 3rd client, I was like, all right, I don't really want to send cold DMs anymore. Or I'll still do it. I'll still send cold DMs. But the thing is, I need a new and better and improved outreach channel, something that's really high leverage. And so what I did was I paid a guy $3K to set me up an email outreach system to book me a ton of calls. And guess what that did? That got me an amazing ROI. Shout out to Jackson Williams. You guys, if you're not subscribed to his channel, you should definitely check it out. But yeah, paid him to set me up an email system. That got me a huge ROI. And then from that ROI, I scaled all the way up to 13K per month. From 13K per month, I used that cash to hire 2 cold callers, keep improving my service delivery. And so from that cash, I built a cold call team. And from this cash, I'm going to start running ads. And so you see, it just keeps a stepping stone. That the cash is oxygen, which is going to give me more oxygen, if you want to say that. And I'll just show you, if you're well connected to the space, you probably recognize this sheet, but this is just 2 of them. So let's just do the 1 month. All right. In 1 month, 63 booked calls from cold calling. All right. And you can see the stats, 7,680 outbound dials to my ideal prospects, giving them my offer. That right there, I love to see that. I love to wake up in the morning and come to the sheet and see that, because we're on the right path. And then everything else, if the pickup rate is low, the pitch rate is low, or the call booked rate is low, then of course I can adjust to that. But yeah, that's just to give you some context on the volume negates luck. Today, I fully onboarded an in-house ISA. If you don't know what an ISA is, it's an internal sales agent. It's a person to actually call your clients' leads for you, or some people call it appointment setters. For me, I'm just going to call it a lead manager, because up until now, I haven't had an appointment setter. I told my clients, hey, you're going to call your leads. I'm not going to call your leads. We're not a call center. Now, that being said, I still offered the Go High Level and the AI follow-up via text and email, and that actually has been getting great results. And I still show them how to use Go High Level, make sure you call your leads. But the thing is, the clients who get the best results, they call you their leads, and I can see who's calling and who's not. Now, the clients who get the worst results, of course, they just completely neglect the calling. And so while it's great to do that, and you can definitely scale an agency having your clients call the leads themselves. Of course, I think texting and emailing, I think that's an absolute must. And proof of it is actually a state AI, but especially today in 2024 in the competitive landscape, you're trying to stand out. Iman Gaji, Joel Kaplan, all those other guys are probably creating, no joke, like 200 new agency owners per day. You really have to find a way to stand out and really get them amazing results. So that's why I'm implementing an in-house lead manager to call the leads for them. And that's just going to get even crazier results. The guy is super well trained. We have an amazing script. He's going to do live transfers to them. I'll give you guys some context on how that goes. I mean, it might be a failure or it might be a success, which is what I'm hoping for. But yeah, from here, I really just gotta implement the lead manager. I have to start running ads as soon as possible. I've just been so busy with building the backend system, onboarding all the new team members. I haven't gotten the chance to do it, but that's something I really have to do is start running ads. And then from there, really just gotta improve the sales. So you'll see right here, I do have a 17.9% closing rate, which it's not the worst thing ever. I mean, one time I went on a 20 call losing streak, which, I mean, at that point I thought about changing niches. That was a very rough time in life. That was not fun. And I know some people get upwards of 30% closing rate or even 40. If it's 40%, I think your price is too low. That's just my opinion though. But I mean, yeah, if this could be 30 or even 20, 25, I mean, that would be great. Sales is huge. As much as I want to hire a closer because sales calls take up so much of my time, and especially they're so sporadic, you can't really get into like the deep work for like hours and hours per day. That's something I am good at, is like I train myself to really get into deep work. Put on Brain FM and I could just work for probably 6 hours at a time. But with sales calls on my calendar, I can't really do that. So I want to hire a closer, but the problem is there's just not enough calls. I'm just not in the position yet to hire a closer as much as I want to. And I want a really good one too. Somebody who's better than me, someone who has previous experience in the industry, whether they were a general contractor themselves or they were selling for general contractors. I mean, that would be amazing because selling to these guys is so different. You really have to understand their lingo. You have to know what right words to say. You have to know the tonality. You kind of have to be this macho man. As weird as that sounds, like it's kind of the truth, especially with the home improvement. So yeah, that's pretty much the update. Hope you guys enjoy this. Hope you guys got some insights. Really, we're just going to continue to scale this, and I'll make a separate video for how I hired the cold call team, and I will catch you guys on the next video.